Oh, this already runs so much better. That's definitely gonna jinx it. Anyway, so we got standard, endless, and deck building. Standard, so deck building is that's full game. We got the compendium. We got a handful. Probably should do everything it actually does before we get started with this. Yeah, I was gonna say this for next week, but we need something to do, and we're gonna do it now. What do we got for this? Confessor. If evil or corrupted, I am Daisy. Can't lie. The doesn't work. Keep alignment. So, if you're not truly good, okay. Learn how many evil characters you're adjacent to, you can't lie. Learn how far you are from the nearest evil. Learn one good character as an active ability. If closest evil to me is clockwise or counterclockwise, like equidistant. What are we dealing with? Outcast, like 5 above. Lie in disguise. Squalls pretends to be a different role. Let's try this. Reach this village and die a few times. Okay, along the way. One evil along the character's fight and kill it. Drawn. Your current game. So we have this. We have cards to reveal. One card away from the closest evil. Reveal. Be careful. Live up information. One of these two is evil. Straight up. 2 cards away from the closest evil. Would correlate to you. You can't lie. You're telling the truth. One evil is adjacent to you. That confirms that both of these two are evil. One of these two are evil. It should be you, right? 2 closest cards away. You're good. Because you said you're 1 away from the closest evil. Keep evil characters to the deck. Exit this mode. Goodbye. Yeah, I thought so. I thought so. Medium, learn good character and its role. Learn one character if they're lying. Can you be evil is my question. Oh, we don't have you in there. Oh, one of these is a hunter, so that already narrows it down. We got. Sorry, let's look at some. Okay, so we have. Number 6 is a real hunter. That correlates to you. 2 cards within the closest evil. It would correlate to this. Knowing that I think it's the right evil, yeah, it has to be you immediately. I don't even need to check the other. Yeah, number 5 is good. Yeah, that would confirm anything there. But these 3 all confirm to each other. Can't be 2 evils. They back each other up. Wretched Empress. I register as an evil minion to other characters. There's a 60% chance to disguise as a copy of a random villager or outcast in town. So, for an evil. God, we got 7 now. Six is a real judge. Oh, there's 2 is good. That has to be true, which means 6 has to be legitimately true. Is there anyone that actually... Because this could still be evil. 1 evil adjacent to you could be a liar. Closest evil is counterclockwise. This gives out to both of you two. I'm 2 cards away from the closest evil that would correlate to you or to you. Number 3 is lying. I thought so. Twin minion. You lie and you disguise. Basically the same thing. Jester. Pick 3 characters, learn how many of them are evil. Two evils adjacent to me. You do count as evil to other characters that would be truthful. Otherwise, you are a liar. We know at least part of this is true. Number 8 is good. That is true. Both of you two cover each other. Really wish it was someone else, though. Because you can't lie. Otherwise, you'll say, I'm dizzy. Hello, you have a massive headache? Ow, what happened? Oh, one of these two is evil. Number 7's a real judge. You have to be legit. There's 2 evils. One of these has to be evil. One of these has to be evil. I just noticed that. Number 4 is a real gem crafter. That's correct. If that's a lie, that's a lie. Bombardier. Lose if you execute me. Kill player action. Knight can't die. Okay, so don't ever explode you. We just die. No evil's a J. Usually good. No, Rhett shows up as evil. I am 1 card away from the closest evil. Number 5 is good. 1 is evil, 2, 4, or 6. 2, 4, 6. That implies that assuming you aren't lying. First of all, we test for that. That was one of them gone already. Hit as a knight. It's actually kind of smart. Problem, I could easily test to see if you're lying because I can't kill you if you're a knight. It was great until the thought process of I should always try to kill a knight immediately. If it goes through, they're evil. So that's okay, so that's 1. We have to figure out now from these. We know this one's truthful then, because I see it there. 2, 4, 6. I think you're telling the truth. Which would imply that you're evil. Thought so. Which, you cannot reveal the last card, you lie and disguise. Learn how far a specific evil is to another closest evil. 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to know what 5 and 7 are. And I can't do that. Because someone's blocking me. First things first. That is a legitimate knight. That is the option to mark. Option to mark. That's not what I wanted. It doesn't matter. 1, 2, and 3 and mark cards. Thank you. Thank you. I was trying to figure out where the mark button was. We know you're legitimate. Because we tested to see if we could kill you. 5, 1, or 7 is evil. You show up as evil, so you're most likely legit. Except for the fact that you can't be, because the fact of you won't lie. You self-report, so you're evil. You're not evil. Which means you are evil. How did I lie? You know what, we're gonna try again. We fumbled that a little bit, doesn't matter. I'm not thinking, probably, is what the issue is. To be fair, we're also missing 1 piece of information that probably would have helped out. We'll make it work. You're evil. Reveal that because we have Witch. We'll look at that one. That's all better now. This is actually a little bit better hand anyway. Ghost of Evil's clockwise, that is true. No evil's adjacent. Which is 1 card away from the closest evil. You show up as evil, so you're most likely legit. Oh, you two. I didn't even pay attention to the fact they got another one right here. That was, I've already given it away. One fake outcast is added to the deck view. Line dice. I mean, we'll find out which one it is on here. We don't actually have a wretch then. 3, 8, 5 evil. 6 is good. That's a lie then. Pick one character if evil picked, execute it. Ooh. So I can just use you as a free test. I wonder how many evils are adjacent to each other. One evil on all characters. Pick it. Okay, we got new set. Gemcracker, Judge, Slayer, Jester. 6, 4, 5. Get those 3 out. 6, 4, 5. Test. Truth. Unless you're evil as well, which you can't be. So you both correlate to one another. You are not. You are most likely not evil. I'd be willing to gamble that you're not, because if I pick you, I automatically lose if you're actually not evil. Knowing that, test. Poisoner, Bard. Learn how far the Cross is corrupted. Game start one adjacent villagers corrupted if possible. Lie in disguise. No witch. Characters will lie and their ability will not work. Chances are you're probably that... three cards away from corrupted character, which implies 3 or 1, 2. One even 2 is evil. Thank you. I appreciate the death sound again. Wonderful. One of these 2 has to be evil. Easiest way to find out. Saying truth, that should be evil then. That was, okay, his ability is... So you are either an evil character, or you could have been... You have poison, that's why. Hoping the poisoner would kind of been over on this side. That does mean you'll not get words from me. What does that mean? Judge is corrupted, yeah. Just Knight. Knight is in fact legit. Look at Dark Souls. Number 7 is real Bard, kill that. Fortune Teller, Oracle. Pick 2 cards. On any of them is evil. One of the 2 characters is evil. We most likely kill you unless there's a poisoner in the deck. There is a poisoner. You could legitimately be... Which? Well, this is awkward! We're not adjacent to each other. First things first. Test. Nope. You... 7 is real Confessor. What's in the deck? What did I not get? Okay. Logic this one out. 7 is real Confessor. If that's true, they got corrupted, which would imply... That's a real Knight, which means that number 8 would have to be evil. Which would mean that they'd have to be Poisoner, which means that this is true. If number 2 is real, then that implies that you're lying about this. Yeah, I figured it was worth the risk. I appreciate the concern, but I figured it was worth the risk because we knew it was one of these two who's lying. So I figured there was a very high likelihood. Let's check this. Lying. I thought so. Corrupted. Okay. That means that number 2 is in fact poisoner. Okay. I was hoping you might have been evil. Okay, so know that one is... 7 is real confessor. So they're lying, so they're fake. Plague Doctor. Alchemist. Villagers to the left and right of me, range 2, are cured from corruption. Learn how many I cured. Wish. That's the problem. Closest evil is clockwise, so it could be this way. 3 cards away, so that means either here... I'm gonna skip out on this one. We don't have... we don't have a judge either. I'm good. Closest is clockwise. One of these two is evil. Alternatively, they both could be good. This guy could have poisoned this one with the Plague Doctor. Not corrupted. So that would mean... that was legit. Okay, that's a problem. Kill that one. It's 'cause it was evil. Plague Doctor... You most likely kill... Okay, you... One good thing which is corrupted. Assuming that's true... there could be the chance that this could just be the evil card. And I actually can't afford to take the knight. I can't take the shot on the knight, because if that knight got corrupted, and they're innocent, I am dead. Close to evil's clock. Okay, let's logic this out. You said the same thing as you. You were corrupted. So you were the one that was most likely corrupted. You don't have poisoner, right? We don't have poisoner. Knight's legit. Okay. So you were the one that was there. You're there. Witch is either here, or it's in one of these. You're too risky. We know you're not. Because that's objectively true. We know you were good. We know that was there. Okay. You would have to be lying saying you're dizzy, so you're good. Closest evil to you is clockwise. Hang on. How many cards away are you? You could also just be lying. Because you're proven. That leaves one of you two. It was worth a shot. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with redoing that. Not having the Alchemist actually was kind of an issue. The Judge. Good. Okay, I'm 1 card away from corrupted character. That has to be a lie. This ability works on dead people. Okay. Use evil is the problem. One is evil. 2, 3, or 4. Here's the question. Number 5 is evil, number 7 is corrupted. I was gonna say, easiest thing here, there was a really good chance that both of these two could just be used to check. So we'll do that. Number 7 is not corrupted. Number 5 is evil. Easiest way to tell which one's telling the truth. That was in fact the Slayer. That means that you are evil. That sucks I lost the Slayer, but... 2 cards away from the closest evil, which would mean that since you're not evil... corrupted character. That's gotta be a lie, because you would have, if you were corrupted, you would have said, I am dizzy. I sit next to an outcast. One villager becomes an outcast rule. Doppelganger. I disguise as a good villager currently in play. Well. Active. You're a demon. Stopping me from deck view. Villager becomes an outcast role. We need to put number 7. Number 9 is a real knight. I want to know what that is. You will sit next to there. Excellent. What's the body look again? When villager becomes an outcast role, I sit next to an outcast. That doesn't guarantee... That doesn't guarantee that... I wish I understood the phrasing of that better. Does that imply that one of these two was a different role and became one of them? And that one has to be evil then? Well, we know there's nothing that... Neither of these two actively conflate anything, right? Knight's legit. That means that you're telling the truth, meaning you're real. Number 2 is correct. That's real knight. Because you know the role. 1 is evil. 2, 3, or 5. It can't be you. It could be you. Let's go 3, 5, and 7. Yeah, I figured. Number 2 or 5 is a counselor. We know it can't be 2, so either you're lying, or that's there. There's 2 evils. I'm 2 cards away from the nearest evil. That means that one of you two are evil as well. That was legit. Okay, that means number 7 is in fact good. Which means that... Number what? Oh, I should have figured it was a... I tunnel visioned. I tunnel visioned. That was on me. I did a dumb. I tunnel visioned. Okay. I need to focus better. I need to stop tunnel visioning. There's 3 of you! 2, 2. Mark you 2 preemptively. Number 4 or 7 is a counselor. Let's mark this in red for right now until we know 4, 7. 5 or 6. It could be. There is a chance. And according to you, 8 and 7. No evil's adjacent. Number 3 is not corrupted. Okay, assuming that you're telling the truth, that would mean that you're clear and you're clear. 8 or 7 is a counselor. Becomes true. Which means that... remove that mark. Okay, that was corrupted. I was willing to take that risk. I was willing to take that risk if the knight was corrupted. So at least got the other one guaranteed. Vaz, 3 cards going up for the closest evil. You're either lying, Number 4 or 7 is a counselor. That is true. How many cards are in there? Could you... 4 or 7 is a counselor. Number 7 was number 8 or 7 is a counselor. Both of these are true. Doppelganger, darn it. Alright. To be fair, 3 of them was awkward. That definitely didn't help. Oh well. Villagers to the left and right of me. Range 2 are cured of corruption. You didn't cure anyone, which means everyone this side of the field is not corrupted. You've gotta be kidding me. You've gotta be kidding me. Oh wait, there's not even a plague doctor in here. Oh wait, doppelganger, duh. Why am I thinking doppelganger? Because doppelganger disguises as a villager. That's why I was overthinking it. That's why there's 3 of them. I completely forgot doppelganger existed. Doppelganger counts as a good villager, right? Disguise is a good villager currently in play. You could be, or you could be. There's 2 knights. I just realized. That's legit. That's legit. Okay, so both of you 2 knights are legit. That's probably the doppelganger then. That's the doppelganger. 2 evils adjacent to you. You physically are not evil. Closest evil's counterclockwise. Yeah, I figured that's... Alright, we can figure this one out. Number 1 is good. That's true. Oh, it's pick character we both... 1 evil among 3, 5, and 7. We know both of these 2 can't die. So 7 has to be genuine evil. Drunk. Druid. I disguise as a random villager not in play. I am corrupted and I lie. I cannot be cured. Pick 3 characters. One random outcast among them, if any. One random outcast among them. We got you 2. We have you. We don't have a drunk. Judge would be great right here. No. I cured 1 corruption. Is there anyone that can get corrupted? That's sketchy. You cleared what corruption? Number 1 is real gem crafter. Assuming that these are true for right now, I'll mark that those temporarily. Assuming that those 2 are in fact true, that would imply that number 9 is also good. 8, 1, or 6 is evil. That implies that you are there, which confirms all 3 of you is legitimate. You can... Okay, you can't cure any corruption, so that's physically there. 1 evil, that would technically be true, because the fact of you count as evil, but you could still be evil. Alright, let's pick these 3. Kill them. Go with the guaranteed confirmed ones at that point, because at that point we know if you're legitimate or not. 1 card away from the closest evil, that would be there, and that implies the judge has to be evil. Hookah. Villagers adjacent to me are corrupted if possible. I lie in disguise. Are you considered a demon? You are. There's a lot of... Alchemist is going to be popping off with this one. Puka is 2 cards away from the closest evil. Only 1 pair of evil. You two actively contradict each other. However, there is a Plague Doctor. Card away from a corrupted character. Evil's counterclockwise. Closes evils clockwise. Don't cast among them if any. We have a doppelganger in the gift. No, we don't have. You know what we could do? We can test. Among 2, 1, and 9, there is Plague Doctor. That is true, so you're legitimate. One of you two is evil. Two's gotta be evil. Because we know you're not corrupted. See that, or you could both be... One of you could be poisoned as well. One of you could be poisoned. Alchemist would have been great here. Puka's 2 cards away from the closest evil. Test. Number 3 is not corrupted. Okay, so you're either a liar or you're corrupted. You cured 2 corruptions. Actually, why did I even check that? Alchemist was right here. I didn't even notice the Alchemist. I am blind. To be fair, I'm looking at all the other rolls there. Okay, 2 corruptions. Everything that would be in this area is cured. I should have checked to see if you were corrupted. That would have been the smarter pick. Closest evil's clockwise. You two. 4 is lying. Card away from a corrupted character that does check out. So you're corrupted. You're corrupted, you're poisoner. Or Puka, I guess. Yeah, poisoner, there we go. Yeah, one villager is corrupted if possible, yeah. Poisoner poisoned him. Poisoned you. You corrupted, or you cured the corruption off of you. Got that, okay, better. Baker, Architect. 1 random unrevealed villager becomes a baker. Learn which villager you were. Architect, which side that you was more evil. Okay. Ascension level increase. Final score. Cool. 2 evils among all characters. Finding building. We have Poisoner and Ba. So there's either a drunk or a wretch. 1 outcast. If a wretch doesn't show up, then we have a drunk, and vice versa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Number 2 or 6 is poisoner. Right side more evil. They're both saying that. Is there anything that's specific? We do have a drunk. We do have a drunk. I disguise and as a random not in play villager. What card do we have that would have been not in play? Actually, I could have any of these. We know it's not Architect. You're not an Architect. Okay, so you're either Fortune Teller, Architect, or Fortune Teller, Knitter, Slayer, Oracle, Judge. You lie, right? I am corrupted and I lie. I cannot be cured. Right side is more evil. Either both of you two are lying. What specifically you corrupt an adjacent villager. Okay, so you don't really do anything. You just lie and you hide yourself, obviously. You're a bigger threat because you're a poisoner. Those are not adjacent to each other. Character picked, execute it. We get 1 free guess, essentially. If any of them is evil. we can do actually have a decent amount to work with. 6 or 2 is Poisoner. Okay, so let's suggest that one of you two is Poisoner. You would lie by saying right side is more evil. That is physically... You could be corrupted, because you'd say left side is more evil then, because it implies that both of you two have to be evil. Right side is more evil would imply the same. Both of you are saying the same thing, which means either one of you is the drunk, or one of you is, in fact, evil. Are any of these able to be easily proven? I was gonna say, I was considering that. I was trying to see if there were anything better, because I'm like... I guess that is the best play right now. That is the most guaranteed. Is number 5 or number 2 evil true? So either of them or both are evil. Okay. Evil on right side. Evil on right side. By then, we know that they're not adjacent to each other. I feel like... Okay, so let's assume that you're correct. Now, we know that one of you two is evil, then by that logic, let me remove this. Unless you're evil or you're evil... Actually, no, that's gotta be true. Unless both of you two are actively evil. Which has to not be the case. You're also suggesting that number 6 or 2 is Poisoner. We know 6 or 2 is evil. By that logic. We know number 2 is... We got 2 people suggesting that's there. That was the drunk. So by that, we can check. That is truthful. So 6 is Poisoner. These are not adjacent to each other. Left side. That's not true then. Because you got poisoned. One of you two got poisoned. Or you could be... You could be evil. You could be evil. 5 or 2. You can't be evil. That was in fact... Okay, never mind. You can be evil. You were corrupted, that's why. Okay. Oh, it doesn't matter, we got through. Shaman Bishop. 2 same villager roles in the current village. I lie and disguise. Number 3 characters among them are 1 villager, 1 outcast, and 1 evil if possible. Actually, why did I even kill the fortune teller? I shouldn't have even done that. Because there's more evil on that side. Everyone there... If we went as a drunk, then obviously that left side was a lie. I don't know why I did that now I'm thinking about it in retrospect. Shaman is 2 of the same villager roles in the current village. 1 villager role becomes an outcast role. I sit next to an outcast, so if you're a plague doctor or a wretch, you become sketchy. We don't have, I'm assuming you converted. No, you weren't in the village. You converted the Slayer. Ghost Steals counterclockwise, Ghost Steals clockwise. Counselor is 2 cards away from the closest evil. Shaman is 3 cards away from the closest evil. One of you two is actively lying. Yeah, one of the scouts does have to be lying. That's the problem. Question is, are they corrupted? We have a plague doctor. That's the problem. One of them could actively be corrupted. Let's have those 2 as well, then. The only one that feels safe is the fortune teller. Besides, well, these 2. Registers evil minion to other characters. Nothing says anything about you. So, like, I think you're pretty safe that you're probably not, because literally no one is saying anything about you at all. Easiest way to decide. Plague Doctor is going to be showing up as good. I want to test the Jester to find out how many of these characters are evil. You're going to be good. You're good. Number 6 or 8 evil, true. You're corrupted then. I'm going to erase that mark there. So you're corrupted. Unless you are evil. You could be evil. You could be evil. But that's actually, that's not possible. You could be. Frick. I was hoping you were. What was the other one? The counselor was right there. You were evil. Okay. Well, that's fine. We get a bad hand, we can reroll that, basically. That's a lot better, actually. That's a lot better. Yeah, it turns out both those guys were fine. Oh, that's frustrating. Hunter, Druid, Baker, Knight, Jester, Slayer. One random unrevealed villager becomes a Baker. Learn what villager you were. Doppelganger, Puka. Villagers adjacent to you are corrupted. There are 2 current... Yeah, that's fair. I probably should have done that. We live and we learn. Why are there 4? Okay, one of them is a doppelganger. 2 of the same villagers. Do we have a baker? We do not actively have a baker. You could be evil, you could be corrupted. You could be legitimate. I can't take a gamble on you. I'm gonna have to assume for right now. I'm gonna put you as yellow. The off chance. Let's start comparing all of these. 2 away from the closest evil. You would be implied. You. You indicate. You and you. Indicate. There's 2 accusations. Okay, so yeah, 1 accusation on you, 2 on you. Considering that... like 3 characters. I am. Thank you for that concern. Okay, I'm gonna check if these 3, if there's any of them. There are no outcasts. You're corrupted. That was a doppelganger, darn. That was like the one opportunity that could have been the doppelganger. That was like the one gamble. Okay, so doppelganger was right here. This was legitimate. So you were 2 away from the closest evil. That means that either you or you are evil. That brings you down to this and clears you of suspicion. Because that means you are evil. Shaman. 2 the same villager. Okay. Jester. We know you're good. You're most likely good. You were telling the truth. So let's compare you, and you. There are 3 evils. You're corrupted. You are corrupted. Because all 3 of these... Only one of the... none of these were... I picked 3, 4, 6. All of you have to be legitimate, which means you're good. You're good because you lied about that. And there's 2 evils. Puppeteer. Random villager becomes a puppet. It's evil, but cannot lie. I lie in disguise. Okay. Poisoner, counselor, puppeteer, doppelganger, right plague doctor. I have a question. Since you've, App, you seem to know what you're doing. can an evil slayer kill someone who's innocent? That's like that's the one reason that I didn't touch the slayer, and why I went the other route to figure out the slayer was evil. Because in the off chance that that slayer was evil, I didn't know if it would kill or not. We have Professor, that's good, but you also could be corrupted. So at that point, we'll mark you if you are. Otherwise, you are probably safe. Okay, 3 characters. Bard can be useful. Architect actually isn't the best for this hand. No, okay. So Slayer is perfectly safe to use even if they're evil. Okay. So that would have guaranteed telling me. Okay. Evil Slayers can't slay anymore, same for Corrupted. Okay. I figured Corrupted couldn't because they don't have an ability. But I didn't know if evil Slayers could use their ability actively. Because that feels like something that I could totally see happening. Wretch. 4 cards away from the corrupted character. That may or may not be true. 1 card away. That would actually line up with... There's 4 characters because of the puppeteer, but they can't lie. Villager outcast domain. 7, 8, 5. 7, 8. Okay, they just make up everything that they say. Okay, I figured like I knew the judge that was there, like the fortune teller that was evil, but I didn't know about some of the others. 7, 8, 5. There is a. Okay, you 3. That's a lie. So either you're evil, or you're corrupted. You are likely corrupted. You probably converted. Let's check you out. 2 is evil, 9 is corrupted. Assuming that you're telling the truth, you are in fact good. Yeah, because you've got to be correct then. Because I thought you were poisoned. So yeah, we've got you. So you have 3 times because that's a lie. Easiest way to tell if it's corruption or if you're evil is to check. So either you're both evil, which we'll find out pretty easily, or you're evil. So 4 cards away. You're 1 card away from a corrupted character. That is true, because you are corrupted. Evil on left side. That's factually incorrect, so you're evil. Counselor card is 1 card away from the closest evil. One of you 2 is the counselor. You were corrupted. Okay. Oh, you weren't lying about that either way. I'll kill you. Doppelganger. Okay. That's because you both had a good pairing. That's unfortunate. Oh, that's unfortunate. I'll take having 3 at the very least. Puppeteer sucks up to deal with minion. I'll take that. Bunch of false information. I was hoping that we could go ahead and kill one of them, get the correct information from that. I think I overshot slightly. Waff, 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 waff. How I'm doing. We're going to cover like plus the killer. Okay, hovered over, use information like Bluff's killed characters. Choose which would. Not corrupted. I know Empress can't self-report. Can you self-report? If you can, theoretically you could. And that does line up. 3. You have to most likely be evil then, unless you're lying. Going something gave you info that you want to check. Fair enough. Good to know. Thank you. We know you're not corrupted because I checked. You're either lying or you're evil. And I'm inclined to believe that you're probably correct. Because you're, in fact, a plague doctor. Slayer, I could, in fact... Puppet. Okay, so you're a puppet. So you don't lie. So number 7 or 4 is a minion. I killed evil at 3, that is true. You are not evil then, you are good, which confirms you are evil. We know that number 5 is a real knitter. Okay. That does not help me. Druid does not help me in any situation here. Actually, no, it does. I can tell if you're lying. 1, 2, 3. You could be poisoned. You could be poisoned. Number 2 is a real druid, you're lying. Thank you for telling me about the eye. That was actually really good to know because that gave me the exact information I needed. Pick one character, learn an evil role. If evil picked, learn correct info. Poisoner, counselor. Okay. You cured 1 corruption. So that means all of you are here, which means one of you two is there, or you're lying. There are 2 slayers. There's also another alchemist here. We have poisoner, counselor. You two. Whoops. Oh yeah, cannot. If lies cannot kill my target. All right, I should have checked that earlier. Yeah. Okay, so you all are potential counselors. 7 or 5 is a counselor. That's a lie itself. So you're either evil or corrupted. You cured 1 corruption, assuming that's true. That means that you're most likely the counselor. Boom, boom, boom. You're most likely legit then, because you were poisoned. Number 7 or 5 is a counselor. You could still be good. That's sketchy. That would extend to this range. This would extend to this range. Alright. Let's check this again. Doppelganger. Doppelganger, one of the Slayer... Both of the... What range would you have been? Up to here. Up to here. One of you two has to be lying. Only one person got poisoned. Only one person got poisoned. One of these two is a doppelganger. Couldn't kill 4. Doppelganger, figured. One of these two would be doppelganger. Wanted to check, so you were in fact... Yeah, 6 is Doppel and 5 is Counselor. Nah, he was legit. At that point, I wanted to check to make sure Oracle was legit, so I used one of the Slayers. Doppelganger one. Checked on 1. If that didn't kill... Yeah. Well, 4 got poisoned, but then got cured because this Alchemist was legit. So at that point, we check. Make sure that 4 isn't lying still. Which actually, yeah, that does make sense. 7's a wretch. That actually, I forgot you marked as evil. So yeah, double check to make sure that you're not evil. Considering that, check to see if this one's evil. And if that doesn't go through, this one's evil. Witness. Learn if a character was affected by an evil ability. 2 minions, 1 demon. Witch. Okay, I only get one of the. I need to check to see what cards there are. You were a judge. Okay. Doppelganger in here? Doppelganger. There is a doppelganger. Just give me a second. You cured 2 corruptions, which implies I want this card then. You were a judge. That implies something along this might have been poisoned. We do have a poisoner. We have a witch. We have a puka. We could immediately go check, since we know, assuming that this is in fact true. Do we have Slayer anywhere? No. We have Bishop. We have... I'm gonna take that. I am the original baker. Let's assume that these 2 are true. You're telling the truth. Outcast, minion, villager. That's probably true. I'm inclined to believe the bishop, because we do have a doppelganger. Baker converted a judge. The card reveal isn't the baker, it's outcast or evil, because the baker would make the last card another baker. We have 8 as baker, and we had 2 saying that they were a judge that got turned into a baker. Oh, so you're saying 2 has to be evil then, is what you're saying. You're saying 2 has to be evil? Am I understanding that correctly? Or am I misinterpreting? Before I go do something a bit hasty. 1, 5, 7, or 9 is evil. There's 2 accusations on you being evil. 1, 7, or 9. 7 also has 2 accusations. Nothing about 7. Nothing about 6. Nothing about 3. Well, it wasn't, but yes, 2 is evil. Okay. Corrupted. That's a problem. You would have been outside the range, too. If you were, like, right here, you would have helped. How do we got some cards? Wait, hang on. You've got to be evil. Corrupted Alchemist. How do we get a Corrupted Alchemist? Oh, Puka's right there. That explains. Okay. I forgot Puka corrupts. I'm dumb. That's a lot! We'll make it work. 1, 2. 1 card away from the closest evil. I want this one right here. Right side's more evil. Right side's more evil. Both of you are saying the same thing. Which, medium. 1 is a real hunter. Leggy. Seven, I can't figure that one out. 6 or 2 is counselor. 6 or 2 is counselor. Could be either or. 1, 2. I'm sure I'll get a lot better at this once I understand things a lot more, since it's my first time playing as well. Counselor. So, one of you is not in there. Bombardier is most likely not in the actual thing. I'm going to hold off from executing 8 unless we know for a fact 8 has to be evil, because There could be a doppelganger that's not actually in play. I'm not seeing anything that's... Well, actually, no, there could be a doppelganger right here, because Architect. So we know you're doppelganger. Yeah, Bombardier is most likely not in play. Okay, so let's assume that this is correct. Let's assume that you're telling the truth. One card away from the closest evil. That would mean one of you two is evil. 2, 7, or 8. Accusations go on to you, you, and you. You show up as evil. That would be 2. Characters at exactly the midpoints of the circle. So that includes this 5, and that includes this 5. Okay. One of you two probably is evil then. Could be corrupted. 2 or 6 is a counselor. That honestly would check out. One of you has to be. That was genuine. Okay. So... what would have to be here? Not corrupted. So you're either evil, or your right side is more evil. So that has to be inherently true. You were innocent. You were innocent. You have to be inherently telling the truth here. So there has to be 2 on this side. That means you're evil, or you're evil, or you're both evil. And 1 card away from the closest evil. That had to be here. Number 6 or 2 has to be counselor. Number 2 isn't counselor. Assuming you're not corrupted, that would have to be you. So let's assume for a moment that that's true. That would have to make you evil. And if that's the case, then you're... Oh. Is there anything I can discern from this that gives me a guarantee? You know, 6 isn't corrupted. So they're evil, either lying or they're evil. So we know you didn't get converted. We know you didn't get poisoned. I'm willing to gamble on that. Okay, it was... You were corrupted, that's why. That's fine. I'm willing to lose a heart on that. That was an unfortunate hand as well. Probably could have played that a little better too. 4, 1, 1. You two... Okay, this is a little bit better. Take 7 right here. Equals clockwise. I was like, this is pretty fun though. I still need to do some learning, but this is pretty decent. Okay. Can't die. We want to assume that you're both good. 5 is real fortune teller. Let's assume that's true. Who's clockwise? 1 or 2 is counselor. Could be, could be, could be. Is there anything that corrupts? Plague Doctor. We don't have a Plague Doctor. We do have a Drunk. Wow, that's unfortunate. Okay, I was really hoping you weren't. Because that would have made it easier to tell. Fortunately, the gamble did not pay off. That's objectively true. Learn if any of them are evil. Apparitio has to be counselor. You could be as well. You know what? He did hide as the bomber. I'm willing to lose a heart over that, because that's a really unfortunate hand to have, where the bomber's the guy. Because that's terrifying to touch in any form. I am the original baker, I was an architect. You have a doppelganger in some form. You have a drunk. Plaguey is not in here, so we have a drunk. 7's good. Let's assume that these two are telling the truth. You cured 0 corruptions. Let's assume that's the truth because we don't have a Plaguey. Three has to be telling the truth. I attempt to kill with one of them. I know one of them has to genuinely be good. Unless they're both evil. You two are probably good. Because you would have converted. You cured 0 corruptions. That's objectively true. There are no corruptions that you could cure. Assume that you were in fact an architect. Let's assume that you 4 are correct. Right side is more evil is inherently false. You couldn't kill 3. So one use the drunk, one use the sheep. And that creates an awkward situation where I have to kill both of you. And I can't gamble on that. I have to kill both. Wait. Triple Jester. Number 5 is Real Jester. We have Doppelganger. There is most likely a second Jester because the Doppelganger. 2 same villager roles in the character. So one of these Jesters is evil. I am good. You have to be because the fact of if you were evil, you would say, I am dizzy. You can't lie, yeah. So you have to objectively be good. Number 4 is good. Is there anyone who is corrupted? Let's assume that you're correct. Let's assume that you're really not corrupted. Shaman, Poisoner. I am 3 cards away from corrupted character. That would be either you or you. Let's assume it's there. One of you is corrupted. Number 5 is a Real Jester. Let's assume that's... I want to use a Doppelganger. So one of these 3 is real. So that immediately calls into question you. Good. That would mean that one of you has to be a legit Jester, one of you has to be corrupted. Boom, boom, boom. 862, there is 1 evil. You're legitimate. Okay. So that means both of you two are legitimate, which means that you're a liar and you're a liar. Unless you're a liar. You got corrupted. You're evil. No, you were the shaman. You know it's a poisoner. You got corrupted, okay. I was on the right track at least. If I had one more hit, I actually think I could have gotten it. Oh well. Troy Bishop, Knight, Hunter, so I just need to learn how to play more. 2 evils adjacent to you, which would imply both of you. No adjacent evils. Assuming you're correct, that would mean 865. Bring you into question. And does anything corrupt here? Poisoner. There are 3 lovers. There is the off chance. No. Assuming you're telling the truth, you're a fake knight. False. Correct. Correct. You're a villager. It is objectively true. But then that pulls you into question. Assuming that no evil's adjacent to you. You could be poisoned. You said 2 evils adjacent to you. We know one of the lovers has to be evil. That was corrupted. Okay, so you were good. So there is an evil adjacent to you. That means you're the poisoner. That means you're legit. Which means 6 or 5 is evil. 7 or 4. You would have to be legit. Or the shaman's evil. Okay. Gotta start taking that in consideration more. Information isn't good at witch. Number 4 or 8's a witch. That's actually very possible. That could be potentially true. Number 8 or 2 is a shaman. Number 8 or 2 is a witch. I am 1 card away from the closest evil. Okay, let's pick you. No, you could be... There is no poisoner. There is a drunk. You could be lying. You're either evil or you're... Okay, 1, 2... No. We need to wait on that. 4 or 8 is a witch. Number 2 or 8 is a shaman. Two accusations on you. Let's assume you and 5 or 2 is evil true. Either you're lying or one of them is evil. Number 8 or 2 is shaman. You could hide as a you could hide as the hunter, saying that one of you 2 is evil. Boom, boom, boom. 7-3 drunk, that's the drunk. This is the drunk. That was a legitimate hunter. That implies that number 5 is... You're not corrupted. So we know one of you is evil. There are no... I hate this sometimes. Okay. Let's try this again. Which, right. Make an Oracle. That's legitimate, for sure. That's unfortunately lost the Oracle. Two cards from a corrupted character. I was an Oracle. Oh, great. 1 or 5 is a witch. 1 or 5. Yeah, I figured that one out. Left side's more evil. This side. Left side's more evil implies you and you are evil. You be the original baker. I'm inclined to believe that. 2 cards away from a corrupted character. One of you is something else. 1 or 5 is a witch. That really doesn't help. Okay, there is 2. So we have 5. So we have to assume you. Let's assume, for the sake of argument, can't do anything but you. Let's assume you, and you are here. That implies that you have to be evil. Are corrupted. They're all corrupted. Okay. So we need to figure out what cards are legitimate. You are most likely the original baker. If we assume you are in fact the original baker, we know you're not lying. Which means you're not, and at the very minimum, you're not the puka. That would imply that you have to be here, and no. You could be lying as well. Because you would corrupt both of these two. You would lie. 5 is a witch. Witch is correct. That's objectively correct. You are, in fact, Bombardier. Okay. You are correct. Which means that you were, in fact, there. Which means you are probably legitimate. Unless... we know you're not corrupted. So you're not corrupted. You're corrupted, then. Architect. I thought so. 4, 1. Minions 1, demons 1. That's not a demon, that's minions. 2 minions. 4, 7. 2, 4, 7. 7's a real slayer. For either check, there's multiple people saying that that's good, so we can assume that you're all telling the truth, and that implies that you are as well. Both sides are equally as evil. That means you get called into question. You get called into question. Both sides are equally as evil. One of you lied. Unless... no, it's 2. One of you has to be lying. There's 8. 7 is a real slayer that objectively has to be true. We killed the shaman. There's a confessor. 7 is good. You two have to be objectively true. Bishop had to be evil. Bombardier, that would have been fine. Puka, puppeteer, so there's 3 evils. Becomes a puppet, it's evil, cannot lie. Bombardier. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, assume that this is correct. We have 2 people backing that up. You are all backing each other up in some form. 1, 3, 4, outcast minion villager. You're corrupted. 4. 7 is good. Number 3 is real gem craft. Let's assume that's correct. Assuming this is true. No, that physically can't be possible unless this or this is evil. Or we could check the Bombardier. We could check the Bombardier in the off chance that they are evil. Let's check you. There is Bombardier. That is correct. I'm inclined to believe you. You could be a liar, or you could be evil, though. Is there anyone that... There's a Puka. Puka would corrupt. Lies, I can't kill my target. I kill the... Can I kill 7? Either you're corrupted. Let's assume that that's correct on you. That means the knight's most likely evil or corrupted. Knight is in fact legitimate. So that means we have all of these that come into question then. The knight's legitimate. We know that neither of you 2 are Pukas. So I'm actually going to mark everyone else here. We know you're good as well. So we know at least you 2 are not Pukas. You were objectively true about the Bombardier, so I'm inclined to believe that you are true. You're not a puppet, or else you would have died. You couldn't kill 7. Which means you're corrupted, or 7's not evil, or you're evil. That cannot be physically possible at this point unless it's boom, boom, boom. If you're evil, puppet. It's evil but can't lie. That would be an active contradiction. Minion villager. That's objectively false. Corrupted. Which means you're evil. Number 3 is real gem crafter. Both sides are equally as evil. Oh, this is a problem. We know you're legitimate. We know you're legitimate. We know... He's a gem crafter. That's a lie. But... Actually, no, that's true. You have to be evil. Oh, you were the puppet. So you can't lie. Okay, I guess I didn't consider that aspect. I didn't consider that aspect. You'd still give me genuine advice. You cured 1 corruption. Poisoner. Drunk. You had to have lied. No, actually you couldn't have lied. Or you could have lied, or you could be telling the truth, because you could be a Puka. There could be a Puka next to you within range here. So Puka would be here, or here, or here, or here. Let's assume that that's correct. judge. There's only one pair of evil that was most likely true. Is a doppelganger? Drunk. 4 cards away from the closest evil. That has to imply 3 is evil. And because you would have been, unless you're a drunk. Evil's clockwise. 4's a real fortune teller. Okay. Boom, boom. Actually, pick you in the off chance. No outcasts. So either you're lying or you're telling the truth. Well, that's obviously given, but... You could be a puka. You are legitimate. There was 2 accusations on you. I need to take the chance in the case there was 1 pair of evil next to each other. You could be, you can't corrupt yourself. Well, clockwise, so that's probably you. No, it can't be. I was gonna say because. One pair of evil. That was legitimate. Either you're evil or you're lying. We know this. Okay, let's go ahead and calculate for that. You can't be lying. So let's at least figure out who's lying. Let's try and go back. So, okay, so you have to be you, or you. If it was you, you'd say that the closest evil is equidistant. Which is not physically possible, so you still could be evil, but... Alternatively, you could both be evil. Who's the drunk? So you lied. 6 or 3... Fortune teller, that's not objectively true at all. 4... Closest evil. You're corrupted. You're evil. Or corrupted, yeah. Okay, I got backwards. I kind of the right idea at least. I knew something was off with you. Better hand, 4. Okay, half the town's evil. Oh boy. Okay, apparently I don't... sketchy. So that's true. You cured 2 corruptions, which is the 2, could be 3 Slayer. Okay, so boom, boom, boom. Which is 2 cards away from closest evil. You most likely are telling the truth. I'm inclined to believe it. 2 cards away from closest evil. That could be you. You count as evil. One of the jesters is evil. Alternatively, you could be... Alright, let's... puppet. You're confirmed good. Which means you're... There's only a wreck. Puppeteer. Bishop's evil. That did give me the information I needed. Because if you got corrupt cleanse somewhere, could get 2 corruptions. We'll use a witch. Poisoner. Puppeteer, no. Cure 2 corruptions. Is that possible for you? Is that even technically possible? You have 1 poisoner. Corrupted. Okay, there was a good chance that he was evil, there was a good chance he wasn't. Poisoner has to be adjacent. Flying disguise. Poisoner's adjacent. That means Scout is Poisoner. Okay. One, two, three. 0 evils. Dreamer. Evil roll. If evil picked, learn correct info. Learn how far specific evil is to another closest evil. Mate or witch Puka. This doesn't help anything so far. Execute me 4 cards. That implies the Jester or the Righteous Corrupted. I want you. Left side's more evil. Dreamer, that actually helps. I'm glad I get that one. Puka is 1 card away from the closest evil. Puka corrupt everything on its playing field. Want to use Corrupted. There's 2 evils. Adjacent to me are corrupted if possible. One of you 2 is claimed to be corrupt. Let's assume that you're correct. One of you 2 is corrupted. 1 card away from the closest evil. You count as an evil. So you could be here, you could be here. 4 cards away. But that would mean that you have to be legitimate. So you don't count. Let's assume that you're good for the sake of being good. Because if I pick you and you're innocent, I just die. Kill 1. Either 1 is legitimate, or... Left side is more evil. You're likely corrupted. Corrupt the Jester. Puka. Alright. You can't kill 1, because you're legitimate. Dreamer is most likely evil. Yes. Witness. Let me get the witness available again. Okay. to everyone then. We think. That's sketchy. Why is there not another baker? It is possible that you did... Doppelganger, Wretch, Bombardier. There is no Bombardier, there is a Doppelganger. Like, that's sketchy. One of you is a Doppelganger. Closest people is equidistant. Evil the same distance from me. How would that show... That doesn't show up as anything. That's sketchy. I don't see an arrow pointing to any of these. The same way it is. Oh, let's point that way. Clockwise. Evils are not adjacent to each other. There's only one pair of evil. You two actively contradict each other. You two look like you're evil. But that would also have to contradict this, so that can't be true. So you both have to be good. That means that you are most likely evil. Which means... one random outcast. I want to check something right here. There is Doppelganger among the three of them. So that is proven that you're genuine. Shaman is one card away from the closest evil. We know that's one of these two. That does create a situation where we have to just... Okay, that actually could have been technically true as well. Actually, why even check that? That's both objectively true. I don't know why I did that. I took that for granted. I should have considered that the sheep was lying, the thing was lying. Scout. I don't know why I didn't consider that. Two bishops. Let's check their information. You mentioned this one. This one, this one. You mentioned these two. One is evil. And you mentioned these two. So that means one of you three is evil. We have that and Minion. We don't have a Bombardier. We have a Drunk. Is anyone able to get corrupted? Outside the Drunk. Drunk disguises as a villager that's not in play. There is one architect that's in play, but that could be... Let's see, there is an outcast and villager. That makes me inclined to believe you're the Drunk. You're telling the truth. Which means you're telling the truth. 8, 1, or 7. You could be the evil one. Both of you are accusing 5 of being evil. That is... Okay, so she is genuine. 8, 1, or 7. One of the bishops is evil. Right side is more evil. That's a lie. It's left side. False. Okay, that was the other alternative. Oh, I should use the Jester first. I don't know why I didn't use the Jester first. Counselor, Wretch. You spawn next to one of them. Let's try this again. 1, 2. weren't corrupted. I guess you count it as... You know, you're good. No equals adjacent. Hang on, that's... Yeah, I should have figured... I should have calculated that first. I forgot a factor, and that counts as evil. Which means either the... One evil. Knight. Well, not slightly, but we're good. We can at least get through section 3 today. Doppelganger, Shaman, Minions. Let's make 3 the same. 3 of you. So it's gonna create 2 same villager roles in the current village. You lie in disguise. That creates a 3rd one. So one of you has to be 3 cards with a corrupted character. That creates you or you, assuming you're telling the truth. Does anyone have any way to get corrupted? No. Yeah, there's no way to get corrupted. That makes you evil. When adjacent to you, that's correct. Closest evil is clockwise. That is correct. Right side is more evil. That would probably be correct. Closest evil is counterclockwise. Yes. That would also have to make... That's the doppelganger. So you're innocent. You could be evil. Learn how many are evil. Let's go confirm on these. 1 evil. 2, 4, and 8. We know both of these are legitimate. That was risky, but there's nothing else that made sense there. Every bit of information pointed to that side, the Bombardier being safe. Which is terrifying, because if I'd been wrong, game over. Alright. Let's not mention it with 8. So 3 or 6 is a witch. Let's assume it's correct. Actually, what do we have available for rolls? Anything that would... Could corrupt the knight. That's something we have to factor in. Let's assume 1, 2, 3. 3 or 6 is a witch. Both of you saying that means it's very likely that one of you are evil. Okay, that was corrupted. So that makes... Okay, both of you two were evil, of course. And that means that you're the puppeteer up here. Okay, that's fine. I can work with your hand. Alchemist is great. That's like the big one. And we got... You, and you are mentioned. Closest evil is counterclockwise. Could be... You do 2 evils adjacent to you. That's sketchy. 3 is real enlightened. Let's assume that's true. Hang on. There's an active contradiction here. 2, 3, 5, 1 minion. 1 minion. Counterclockwise. 2 evils adjacent to you. That actually could be true. 5. Judge. Alchemist. Cured 2 corruptions. So everything on this side of the field is safe. Unless he's corrupted. Is there any way for 2 corruptions to have happened? Poisoner. Plague Doctor. Drunk Plague Doctor. 2 is evil, 8 is corrupted. That does line up that you were corrupted. Okay, which implies you were the poisoner. By that logic, if the bishop was corrupted. So bishop can't be taken out of anything. What does it say there? 2 is evil, 8 is corrupted. 8's not corrupted then. I could be. Maybe that could be anything else poison. You could be drunk. You just could be the drunk. I can't confirm or deny that you're the drunk. That is true. You did not cure 2 corruptions. You were still corrupted. You were the drunk. Two evils adjacent to you. Joke is saying truth. 3's real enlightened. Plus clockwise. That's not relevant. 6 could still be evil. I might just have to redo the hand on this one. Having a witch in here is actually really bad for this scenario. Or not witch, puppet. I thought we had a witch, and I didn't click. Apparently I'm the drunk. Seven is real medium, assuming that's true. That becomes this. That actually becomes true for you. Puppet. He did in fact say the truth. The closest evil to you would be counterclockwise. There were 2 evils adjacent to you, so that does make you legitimate. So you were evil. You're good. We have him. 5 evil. Pretty good. If we know all 5 of these are good. That's Apparitio. I thought so, but we need to be doubly sure. Witchbath. Okay. Slayer. Confessor. 3 cards from the closest evil. I cured 1 corruption. So that's a lie. Which is 2 cards away from the closest evil, which is either this one, or this one, or this one. Alternatively, could be... If you're the closest evil... Easiest way to test, because I could've just killed you. I get a test there. We know for a fact you're good. We know that that is objectively true, or it could still be. So one of you 2 is evil. I'm good. I'm inclined to believe that. 9 cards with the closest evil. That would make that is true. You're here, and you show up as evil. And 2 cards. That would technically be true. 2, 3, 4. You're saying... Yeah, that did make sense. Witness again, there we go. He's back. He leaves and then he goes. He's witnessed too much for me. 3. I'd actually prefer 3. That's not a puppeteer. Or witch. Let's make this work. Puka is 1 card away from the closest evil. There is Asuke. So we got... Assume that you're correct, and you're correct for the sake of argument. number 6 is good. That would objectively make you good as well. If you cured 1 corruption, that implies that you have a range of 2, which means you could be evil, or you could be evil, or you could be evil. But that means that you two are most likely legit. 1 outcast, 1 villager, 1 evil. That implies that you could be evil, you could be good, you could be good. Because you're a bombardier. So you got, how many people we marked? There's 9 people, there's 3. So there's 6 of them. If that's true, these 3 have to be evil. This is the one I'm hesitant the most to pull the trigger on. 6 is good. That's most likely a lie with you. 4 could be Puka. Test. Gemcrafter, you're a liar. So you're either corrupted or you're evil. You know, it's genuine. Okay, Puka's 1 card. You cured 1 corruption. 6 is good. You're telling the truth. That means that you're actually correct, which means you're sketchy. Solves that problem. No, that was a false flag. Which, to be fair, it was easier to mark you as green until we confirmed otherwise. At that point, we test for 2. Because, yeah, no. If he said 3 evils on a confirmed good, that would be a problem. If he said 0 evils, we'd know he'd be evil as well. Be Puka. Well, no, it wasn't Puka, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you aren't good, so you're a question mark. Anything else that we can work off of? The problem is we don't know if that alchemist is evil. I'm inclined to believe he's good. I'm inclined to believe Scout is a... Whoops. I'm inclined to believe the Scout is evil. Puka is correct, which means that you'd be corrupted, which means that is correct that he did in fact go ahead and tell the truth. That means that 7 has to in fact be the poisoner. Poet, learn random information. I'm not sure how useful that is. Poet, hunter, plague doctor, or drunk. We'll find out which one it is. 8 is a real hunter. Okay, so you're confirming that you're correct. I am 1 card away from a corrupt character, which means that one of you 2 is sketchy. Or corrupted, rather, not sketchy. You could easily very well be the case. You're 4 away, which implies that you could be evil or you could be evil, assuming that's true. We do have a fortune teller. Assuming both of these 2 are true. Killed evil number 3, that is correct, so we know all 3 of you are legit. Right side's more evil, could be the case. Okay, let's go ahead and confirm. You're legitimate. Plaguey's not in there, even drunk. You're most likely the drunk. Because both of these did show up as they that should have lied. So we know all four of you are correct. Poisoner. And if you're corrupted, or you're drunk, you're the drunk. Corrupted character, you physically cannot be. That's objectively true. Minion right here. Lilith. At night, kill a random unrevealed character, deal 2 damage to you. Oh, okay. That demon that's actually gonna be a pain in the butt. I need to prioritize getting you down then. Okay, so I need to figure out characters real quick. I have to actually start being... I can't just keep click, 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 click now because I will die very quickly. Could you kill your own teammates? Probably not. I sit next to an outcast. Last card. That doesn't matter anyway. I'm taking 8 damage no matter what if I do everything that way. It should be less than that. Oh, this is nerve-wracking. Alright, so that one. 2 is evil. Oh, there's night cycle now. Every character's acted, the game returns to daytime. Okay, so we got sketch on number 2. That would count as correct. 2 cards from the closest evil. That's sketchy, considering you do count that as evil. I thought so. Killed by the demon cannot be revealed. Is Bombardier. That's truth. That's a Bombardier. I am 1 away from the closest evil. 4 ones. Off chance. Yep, Lilith is gone. Good. Minion. Okay, we can ignore that. So you're correct. I can't reveal that. That's problematic. We know you're not evil, though. There's a witch. Okay, the witch is one of those that's alive. 2 is evil. Witch could just be... Yeah, witch could just be 5. I was gonna say all the other cards that are there. Witch is not gonna get killed by the Lilith. Therefore, 5 is the only one that has no information. There we go. Assumptions. Alright. We have... Plaguey, Poisoner... Alchemist is great here. Bombardier, no Plaguey. No, that's a lie. You're inclined to probably be correct, that you're innocent. Let's assume that is correct, that there is an outcast right there. 2-7. That implies that you're correct, which means you're probably evil. You cured 1 corruption. Evils are not adjacent to each other, that is, you could be evil as well. Alternatively, you could be corrupted. No 1 corruption, well... Okay. We know Bishop is telling the truth, most likely. Because there's no one else that's there. Drunk is not an option. Bombardier has to be included. So they didn't include Bombardier, that would be incorrect. If they were evil, they would have not mentioned that, I would feel. Otherwise, they got very lucky on their pick. Yeah, if lies, all my info is villagers. You have to objectively be correct. So one of you two is evil. Okay, let's find out what that is. Could be poisoner. Well. Yep. Alright, so that means that you are potentially... So you're proven. You're proven. You're proven. You cured 1 corruption, which implies number 3 is a real bishop. That is true. Number 3 or 7 is poisoner. That is true. He was poisoned. He was corrupted himself. That actually gave me enough information. Well, to be fair, that helped, but didn't necessarily give me anything. Honestly, the bishop right here gave me every bit of information I needed. Bombardier and bishop gave me everything I needed. Deck. Fuka, witch. Bombardier, trunk, architect. Baker. Trunk or bombardier? Bard. Fortune teller. That's the original baker. That's what that would say. I'd say I'm the original baker. Okay. What do we have for our evils again? Witch and Puka? 3, 7, or 6. More evils on the left side. Let's assume that's true. That would imply 3, 7, or 6. 3, 5, and 6. So you're both accusing these two. Now, what do we have again? Drunk. One of you could just be lying. Fortune teller still here. I'm inclined to believe fortune teller is probably a liar. It would line up with left side being more, well, could be here, could be both of you two. 5 could be witch. The drunk. So that was just, there's Baker, Bard. Left side's more evil. Can you confirm anything about you 3 are good? You're possible. You 4 are good. Okay. False, that's good. It's correct. That actually means that you have to be evil. And you're corrupted. Puko is right there. Okay. It's technically a possibility. But which gives you limited access information, which we don't like. That's not great. Sometimes you just gotta make do with it, though. Alright, we got 10 cards. 3 twins. Oh, it sucks. 4 is good. On the off chance 4 is good, I can check these two. Bombardier. There is, in fact, Bombardier. I kind of believe you're correct. Number 9's gonna die. This is a problem, because I just lost 2 rolls, but I don't know what we are missing. Jester and Slayer, that's a problem. Fortune Teller. 4 is good. You two back each other up. You two back each other up. You two were both probably good. So that implies that 4 of you are evil. Well, 3 of you 4 are evil. could be. You can use it from beyond death. Form could be witch. Pure two. Hang on. Are there even any corruptions? No. Why are you alive? I don't know why I left you alive. You were the easiest kill of my life. One out of 3 killed. You could be sketchy. You would have to be telling the truth. Witch. 4 is witch, which means that you're both evil. Wretch Plaguey. Whichever one I see, I know it's not there. 2 Plagueys. That's a problem. One of you is evil. You might be... You're evil, because you would have been 2 cards from a corrupted character. I'm inclined to believe you. Puppet. So you were evil. Since we know you're evil, one is correct. One is not corrupted. Why? 5 is corrupted. That is true. You were corrupted. 5 is evil. Okay, you lied. Puppeteer. I guess technically you weren't corrupted because technically you were evil. I guess that makes sense. Original Baker. Why is there not another Baker then? Sheep, okay. That's fine. Weird that there wasn't a second Baker. There should have been. Leggy Doppel. Okay, well that's a problem. That's a lot of questionable information. You count as evil, so I'm inclined to believe you. You could be. One of you's lying. You count for the purposes of here. I'm actually inclined to believe that's true because the fact of both of you two would have to be here. Which would mean that's a Plaguey. That's a Knight. That's a legitimate Knight. That's the Knitter, which means one of you is evil. That's correct, because you would have to be 2 cards away when... Or you were both evil. Which text? Okay. This is a bit problematic. Sorry for relying on some of your information. That's more evil, Wretch, Plaguey, the Lilym. Or Lilith, whatever the heck they call it. Lilith. Lilith. This is a problem. No, Lilith isn't. I didn't even notice that. Okay, we have 3. Jester. Right side's more evil. That does count for that. 9 is evil. 1 is corrupted. Can't have been the case. It's easy to mark you as correct until you lied. Because you were an innocent character, so you were good. You were evil. And there's 4. There's Puppeteer. Problem is I don't know what's next. Okay. Boom, boom. All you had to do was say 2. You as evil, we know you're there. There. So you're probably good. Actually, that is objectively correct. There is at least 2 of these on here. You still could be evil. You could technically still be evil as well. Actually, no, that would have to be true because there's at least 2. Unless it's equidistant, in which case that's a lie. We know Lilith is dead, so nothing happens here. Outcast. No outcasts. You're okay. That's legitimate. I'm the original baker. Wretch. 2, 1, and 9. There are no outcasts. Does that mean that you're hiding as an outcast? Which is 1 card away from the closest evil. That is objectively true. Doesn't mean you're not evil. Yeah, I figured that you were possibly evil. I had to take the gamble. We'll try a little bit more. Actually, we'll take the time. No. You know, I think actually we'll end things off. Do we end things off? We'll go menu right now. So we can just continue off standard, I think. I will say, this is quite fun. We have compendium-wise. We have every card available that there can be. Okay, so some of my personal criticisms that I would say. Well, outside of me tunnel visioning a little bit. Some of it was my own fumbling. Some of it there just felt like there were certain combinations that were ridiculously hard to figure out where it was just a gamble. Like one of the things I really wish, Alchemist I feel like should not be able to get corrupted. That is like a big thing. The Alchemist should not be able to get corrupted. Not to mention it thematically makes sense because if he's able to cure people that can get corrupted, if he's not feeling right, I feel like he should be able to cure himself. I feel like his whole thing should be... That's 102% complete, that's weirdly specific. Like, I'd say like, he should have the ability to just be immune to corruption. If we have a character that can be permanently corrupted in the Drunk, we should have the opposite where the Alchemist, who's the specific only purposes of curing people. He's kind of useless without the ability to cure people. Which, I mean, can be a really good tell if he's evil or not. If he is evil, easy kill. Otherwise, can be hard to tell. Otherwise, as I think if he got immunity to corruption, I think that would help out a little bit too. I've not seen you at all. Adjacent villager becomes a puppet. I lie and disguise. Okay. Another concern with you. We literally had a case of you straight up not lying. You said someone was a wretch. There was a wretch on the card that I selected, and you said that there was a wretch. I killed that card thinking that you were telling the truth. But it actively says that you lie and disguise. So your character info is false. However, you gave objectively correct information. You gave objectively correct information that one of those characters was not, or you were evil. You said one of them was a wretch. You said that there was a wretch in the information. Because you were a... Where is it? Nope. There's the one that gives me the information. Droid, here we go. Yeah, learn one random outcast among them, if any. Wretch does not appear as an outcast for her. Okay, well I guess... I mean, to be fair, I guess I need to look at the cards more. I will say that, God, I take back a little bit of criticism. To be fair, my criticism turns into, I feel like that should probably be included under your ability rather than as a hint. If I have to actively go look at the card to find out that you don't consider the outcast or a wretch an outcast, that you just consider the wretch a good character. As I definitely could have figured it out then that you were evil. The puppeteer was evil. If you counted. But yeah, no, he technically gave correct information because of that, which is weird. And I mean, he gave information that was correct on technicality. Bishop's funny. I feel like either... I actually do... I was gonna say... I can understand the Empress not having... I actually do like the fact that the Bishop can self-report. All of your information on villagers if you're lying. So, like, that's fine. And I can figure that one out. That's good to know. But... Outcast evil... in there. I'll have to play some more of this off stream. I'm definitely gonna do another stream on this. I actually quite enjoy this game. But yeah, if I had to make some feedback, I'd definitely say make the druid include the fact in her information. Lie, she can't do it there. Can learn who is puppet, control character, outcast. Lone character by shaman who was killed by an evil. So you're pretty decent on the looks of it. You're weird. You're either really good or really bad. I wish there was a list of what specific information that there could be. Just because the fact of it would make it easier to keep track of what your technical claims can be. That's just a cosmetic thing. Don't. As far as criticism, that's just something that I think would be a little bit better. Both characters, my info are good if you're lying. Info includes this guy's character. Else that's noted. I'm executed. Well, corrupted. I deal 4 additional damage to you. Yeah, that's... So they tried to test him and the sword snapped. Yeah, so having 9 damage taken is, oof. Yeah, Knight feels... I was gonna say, Knight's interesting because Knight early on, really easy to test because you can go whack, 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 whack. But later on, it actually becomes a really, really heavy price to pay if you get the Knight wrong, the corrupted. I don't mind. On one hand, like, I feel like the penalty's okay, but there's also just the issue of if you get the Knight wrong, that really, really sets you back. Judge is another character that's interesting to me, because I do like it. Confessor's interesting. Yeah, you can't lie. So I like the fact that you can self-report, because technically means if you are lying, then... Well, actually, no, you're actually pretty good. Actually, you're... Ooh! I just noticed something. If you're included, you're guaranteed safe then. Because you have to be a villager. That's interesting. So I do like that with you, because there's not the highest likelihood, but at least there needs to be some kind of guaranteed information you can get out of stuff. As a random villager roll, if you lie. This I think needs to be worded a little bit better with the baker. One random unrevealed villager or good villager becomes a baker. Which villager I was. Because it's like, I kind of understand what you're saying. Like if there is a baker that's revealed, then another villager will occur. But we had a villager become the baker beforehand. I believe was legitimate. I'll have to recheck. Either way, I think this needs to be reworded a little bit better. That's my opinion. But otherwise, I think the baker works pretty decently. Architect. 2 characters at the exact midpoints of the circle as well. Yeah, I figured. A rotating table just to find out who is sus. I like that. Yeah, it's fine. As I said, you should be immune to corruption. That's fine. You're fine, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Because technically you can pick yourself. I feel like based on principle, maybe shouldn't be able to lie. But that's also just the fact of like you're supposed to be the judge of the dead. So, what I do to make it a little bit easier, because there's some cases, especially in the higher ascensions, where it does get a little bit tricky, and you can't get left with gamble information. You need to be immune to corruption. You should only be able to be unique. There should never be able to be a second judge. But the judge will always be a villager. That's how I balance it out. So you get 1 guaranteed villager, and you're immune to corruption. That's useful in the case of corrupting people, but it doesn't always guarantee that you're innocent. This at least is a guaranteed person, but there's only ever going to be 1 of them. Because you can still be corrupted. You could be evil, but you could be corrupted. You only get 1 case of there. I think you should be able to be unique. I think you should not be able to be corrupted for that. Or corrupted. I mean, you could still be corrupted. That's fine. I don't mind if you can't be corrupted. As I said, you should be guaranteed villager. You should be guaranteed singular. You can still be corrupted. Can't die. That's fine. As I said, Knight's a little bit punishing, but I don't really have any complaints with it on how it works. Knitter. Just close together. Just do some here. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah, the only real feedback I have is for these 3 roles. As I said, include. Wretch does not appear as an outcast, rather than a hint. That should be information that's easily accessed without needing to check the character. Like, I should be able to see right here, Wretch does not count. And as I said, make you unique. There, otherwise these all look fine. This is fine, this is a pain in the butt to have to deal with, but you can at least work around it. You disguise, but you functionally work the same. You're tense to deal with, especially if there's an actual evil one, but it's not the biggest to deal with. You can at least get some information. You work out pretty decently. You're annoying, but yeah, you can hurry up after I die. You're like, it's 1 card. It's not the biggest deal. Fly in disguise. I'm here. Motion got new cloak and no abilities. Just a new joke. He lies for the fun. Or for cause and also for fun. Flying disguise. What's the? She's a smarter twin. Others says the same. So what's the point in you two? You just exist. I feel like you could both be consolidated into a minion. I guess technically because early game, there only needs to be. There can only be either 1 minion, or before you're introduced to any of the other ones, you could theoretically have 2. So knowing that, I guess it makes sense that you need to have another one there because you can't have duplicates of the same role in terms of evils. Which I'm actually quite fine with. If you could have like a duplicate of you, for instance, that would suck. Puppeteer. Weirdly, I'd swap you and you. You are like the easiest demon to deal with. You are a non-threat. You'll just lie about an extra thing there. You don't have any active abilities. I'd argue you're a bigger threat, put you as a demon. By that logic, you get this minion, but... Shaman is fine. Poisoner's a little bit annoying, but fine. yeah, I think that's everything that I can think of. Night being added only really works if you're there. Though, to be fair, you should be checking the deck every single thing there just to find out what even is available. And you self-report in the sense of even if you don't check the deck, if you see a night, like a thing, oh, we're going to night, we know you're there. Possible. You're annoying, but you're convinced. One's to be feared mostly gets headbatted. But yeah, I will say, I think that's what I'd personally change. I'm gonna leave some feedback later. I would say I love the art style of this. I can't explain why. There's just something that's very nice about it. There's a certain game that it reminds me of, and I actually can't remember what that game is, and it irritates me that I can't remember. In terms of the art style. It'll probably come back to me after I get off stream, and I'm gonna be mad when that happens. It is what it is. But yeah, that was Demon Bluff. I might come back and play this for another stream. We'll see what we can do. Either way, it was pretty good. I will definitely be picking this up when it fully comes out. That is definitely the plan. In the meantime, I will be seeing you all on Saturday, Halflings. Take care and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye-bye.